There's another strike going on here. I mean, dude, there's so much happening. Like, there are multiple instances of labor action occurring all around the country right now. It's kind of heating up, dude. Is kind of heating up, boys. Is weird. I don't know what this is, but things are looking good. I, in all of my career of like covering politics, have never seen this level of like labor action before. Here it is. This is Jonah Furman doing a union roundup. He's one of the brilliant labor writers out there. This week's union roundup is a big one. Lots of strike activity all around the country. On strike, there are 2,000 Buffalo hospital workers. You have 2,000 Washington carpenters. You have 1,000 Alabama miners that have been striking for a long time. You have 700 nurses in Massachusetts, 450 West Virginia steel workers, and the potential strikes. One of them actually already came to fruition here. The 65,000 film and TV workers that just voted 98% yes to authorize a historic strike, by the way. Historic. 37,000 Kaiser healthcare workers that we just showed you. 10,000 Jon Deere manufacturing workers that I believe also voted 99% to strike. That is a huge one as well. It's huge. As I've said time and time again, and I will repeat myself, this is just what is fair, okay? It's not communism. It's not socialism. It's just fairness in the workplace, or at least like a way to make it a little bit more fair in the workplace, okay? That's just the reality. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody tell you dumbass shit. Don't believe the propaganda, the anti-union propaganda. It is the most cuck thing on the planet, dude. To like literally say, nah, that I'm not interested. I don't want to be able to get more out of my workplace. Here are some updates on strikes. Strike Watch 2021. Strike Watch. IATSE says in response to our strike deadline announcement this week, we are getting reports some studios are scheduling unplanned 6th and 7th days and additional overtime. It is shameful that during negotiation focused on unsafe hours and other abusive conditions, some AMPTP companies are intentionally choosing to risk the health and safety of our members to serve their own selfish interests. It highlights the urgency of our issues. Of course, the reason for why they're like asking for producers and production staff to fucking work extra hours is because they're gearing up for a strike. So they want to fucking make sure that they're like, they can squeeze out as much content as they possibly can because they don't give a fuck about you. Speaking of Strike Watch, 10,000 Jon Deere workers walked out today. Good news. Well, I guess technically bad news, because like ultimately you never want a strike to happen. You want the company to meet your demands that are always reasonable. There's a video of ABC actually covering it. America on strike. 10,000 Jon Deere employees are walking off the job amid a contract dispute.
This morning, 10,000 workers at Jon Deere hit the picket lines in Iowa, Illinois, and Kansas. They argued that even as the agricultural equipment company's profits grew by 61% in recent years, and their CEO's salary grew by 160% during the pandemic, their pay has actually been cut.
We need to let them know that they can't continue to take our money and take our money and take our money.
Across the country, labor is on the march. In California and Oregon, 24,000 nurses and other healthcare workers at Kaiser Permanente voted to authorize a strike over pay and better working conditions. Meanwhile, union workers at Kellogg's cereal plants have been on strike for more than a week, angry about long hours, including 7-day work weeks.
Our #1 priority is to get back to the negotiations table and reach a contract so our employees can get back to their jobs and their lives.
And soon, Hollywood may see a walkout. 60,000 film...
Get back to work, slaves. That's right.
Film and TV crew members could walk off the job Monday over what they claim are unfair working conditions.
Our hours are really grueling, and we need not just rest between the workdays and over the weekend, but an actual meal break during the day.
And across the country, a record number of workers are quitting their jobs. 4.3 million Americans, or 2.9% of the workforce, left their jobs in August. Many are looking for better work conditions and pay, especially with inflation on the rise.
Bro, it's wild. Like, literally everywhere you look, you have people who are like, yo, I don't want to put up with this shit. Like, I just want to get paid more, dude. I want to be happy. I want to do like something that's fulfilling, that pays me well. Like, I want to have more control over my fucking life. I want to do something that's meaningful. Sick and tired of fucking backbreaking labor. And you got the Chamber of Commerce on the other side going, la, 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 I don't hear you. Come on, government, do something. Do something about it. It's like, listen, oftentimes we forget that even neoclassical economists recognize that, you know, in a tight labor market, you're supposed to meet the demands of that fucking labor market. You know, if they are valuable, then you got to fucking demonstrate how valuable they are by meeting their fucking demands. That's why so many people absolutely hate, so many capital owners hate unions. They hate, absolutely fucking hate anything that they see as like as a hurdle against improving productivity and profit margins. They're not that valuable. Oh yeah, Ultra D, man. They're not that valuable except when you can't get your nuggets on time because nobody's stocking the shelves. I'll see how fucking not valuable they are, you dumb bitch. That's right. But I thought we venerated our fucking, you know, essential workers. I love the grocery store clerks. I love them. You know, but like also get back to work, slave. I want my nuggets. People say labor is not valuable because it's replaceable. Unions are one way to make it not as replaceable. Here's some cool footage from the Jon Deere strikers in Ottawa. The UAW Local 74 successfully convinced a freight driver not to cross the picket line. Union workers are striking, folks. It is fucking Striketober. 68,000 IATSE workers in the private sector are going to be going on strike if the demands, the reasonable demands they've met. They've asked the Motion Pictures Association are not met. Got laid last night, bro. Just had to rub it in. Oh, sick, dude. Nice. Weird flex, but okay, dude. Let's do it, folks. Let's watch.
Currently, I work sometimes 80 hours a week.
You say 80 hours a week so casually.
Yeah.
Amy Thurlow is a writer's assistant in Hollywood, a job that makes just over state minimum wage. IATSE is not the only union taking action. More than 10,000 United Auto workers at Jon Deere plants are striking for the first time in 35 years, walking away from a contract that would have provided up to a 6% raise, which workers said was not enough, as company earnings are expected to hit record highs.
Really doing what we've needed to do, standing up for ourselves.
With more than 10 million open jobs across the U.S. and much of the country rebounding from the worst of COVID-19, shouldn't come as a surprise, says former Labor Secretary Robert Reich.
At the end of that crisis, workers begin to say, wait a minute, maybe I ought to be doing better. You have this huge surge in pent-up demand. At the same time, you've got a shortage of workers. And a lot of workers know that this is the time, if there's ever a time, to flex their muscles.
Okay, so Jon Deere workers have already started the strike. It's going on to the second day, well, third day specifically. Now, yesterday we talked about what was going on with the Jon Deere strike. The Jon Deere factory decided to, or Jon Deere corporate decided to get some engineers on the assembly line. That's right, folks. They thought, you know, we got some salaried employees. We got some homies at corporate. So, you know, they'll fucking take over. They'll scab and take over the assembly line and, you know, work. Now, of course, they are, you know, the people like kind of have to do that. You know what I mean? They're not as protected as those who are in a union. Unfortunately, there is no laws in the books to like protect scabs from refusing to scab. You know what I mean? Especially if they already work at the fucking company. You know what I mean? So can you explain what a scab is? Yes, a scab is someone who crossed the picket line when there's a work stoppage happening by a union to take on the job. Companies oftentimes will hire other outside employees to come in and be like, oh yeah, you're going to do a work stoppage? Fuck you. We're going to have someone else come in and take your place and work. It's like a temp job, basically. Now, of course, these are not easy fucking tools. You know what I mean? This is not like an easy tool to operate. Half these things are like technical. They're machinery, you know, and I've already talked about a salary worker from Jonah's tweets from yesterday. But the Deere strike breakers are currently 650 salary employees, pulled from engineering and management positions across Deere. Note, I say strike breakers because I can guarantee that with our lack of skill and numbers, we will not be breaking the strike. To my knowledge, most of us will be allocated to the Milan Parts Center. Deere spent an enormous amount of time, money, and effort trying to get us all trained, but not many of us are really ready for this. Okay, so this is already a really gruesome and terrifying fucking thing to do on your first day of the job, especially without like someone who is technically proficient and has been doing it supervising you, right? So they're putting green ass motherfuckers who just got their certification, so it's not like a full-blown OSHA violation, that normally do management shit or normally do engineering, to like try and operate heavy machinery. They are going to literally fuck their own assembly line. In my position, I'm not looking forward to this. I think the wage employees deserve a lot more than they were offered, and I absolutely support them striking. I feel like I am betraying some of my values by crossing the picket line, but it has been all but said that not crossing the picket line means getting fired if you are salary. If, God forbid, this strike goes on long enough for the next build cycle of combines to start, which is going to happen in November 1st or November 15th, you can remember, it will be a horror show. All the skilled welder, machinists, and assemblers who normally make these $500,000 machines will be gone. So let's check in with the Jon Deere factory and let's see what's going on. Oh, wait, what is that? Incident date, 15th of October, 2021. Workstation area is 8R repair. Incident classification is a near miss. Injury or near miss type is a tractor collision. Incident description: tractor operator was pulling an 8R into the 8R repair bay, but didn't account for the front weights, making contact with the utility post and crushing the 2-gang electrical box and scuffing paint of the front weights. Yep. That's right, folks. On the first full day of Jon Deere using non-union workers to attempt to replace the United Auto Workers members on the factory floor, they didn't make it until 8 a.m. without a 911 call. Now, I feel bad for the fucking dudes who are literally expendable in this circumstance, who are breaking the strike and they're forced to like work at the fucking assembly line.
Boy.
Oh.
0 days without incident. It's like you got like the big fucking the fact that Jon Deere would rather spend a shitload in rapidly training salaried workers and deal with the losses in profit shows you how much money they actually have and could pay the workers a higher salary just fine. Oh, 1000%. That's how it always works. If strikes or if collective organizing wasn't such an incredibly powerful fucking tool that the worker has, if not the only tool that the worker has, then you wouldn't get immediate benefits with the threat of a fucking unionization effort. Companies will literally be like, oh, wait, what do you want? You want benefits? Here you go. You got it. You got everything. Just don't do a fucking union. Just don't do a union. You'll get everything. And they also spend millions of dollars in lawyers to break the strike or to destroy unionization efforts in general. But what about the risk the owners are taking? Yeah, the risk that the owner is taking in this situation is taking my cock. Okay? Fuck that, dude. Fuck you. What about the risk the owners are taking? What about the risk the fucking workers are taking, dumbass? What risk, dude? No, the CEO deserves like $7 gazillion a year, actually, because of the risk. The risk of legal liability, mate? Oh, yeah, dude. I hate when fucking CEOs are at risk of legal liability, you know. Wait a minute. Hold on. One second. Earlier this year, the Fed signed an agreement that let Boeing executives off the hook for the 737 MAX catastrophes, which killed 346 people. The lead prosecutor, Aaron Neely Cox, then took a job with the firm that leads Boeing's criminal defense. That doesn't seem suspicious, dude. What? Boeing's former chief technical pilot on the 737 MAX indicted on fraud charges. Wait a minute. What about the executives, though? That's so crazy. Everybody assumes the risk when they join a corporation, even if you're a worker. The worker has infinitely more risk, though, but you don't really care about it because you're like, well, he's just a fucking pathetic loser worker. He's a fucking wage cuck. So if he loses his job, he can just go and like try to get another fucking job. Who cares? When the CEOs, well, those are important people. If they lose their jobs, well, then what are they going to do? It's like, dude, the CEO literally has a significantly better runway to take care of themselves and recover in a situation where they actually see the fucking consequences of their actions. You know what I mean? If they ever face any repercussions, even in bankruptcy proceedings and whatnot, 2008 housing market crash, CEOs are getting golden fucking parachutes paid for by the taxpayers when the people who got fucked over and killed themselves got nothing.
It's a tight labor market, right? The workers know how valuable they really are. Companies like Jon Deere, after the pandemic, got orders from around the world for this, first-class equipment that they build here from around the world. So demand is very high here, and for other companies, you match that with a tight labor market and with what's happening with
HasanAbi mainstream news are like, we are allies for covering the strike. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's low-key kind of fucking very cool. I mean, this is exactly what you need from mainstream media. You know what I mean? This is literally what, yeah, and they're offering good coverage to it. It's crazy.
With transport around the world, they can't shift production to other countries very efficiently right now, and so the workers really have some leverage for the first time in a very, very long time. And they also feel, I think, in this moment, there's something, I think, remember the Bernie Sanders campaign and the Donald Trump campaign? Both of them had that populist energy that felt, you know, it's time to kind of rebalance the country a little bit, that some people had gotten a little too much of the pie, and I think there's that feeling as well. So it's a number of factors that contribute to what is really the highest strike activity in this country since the mid-1980s. It is a new era in American labor for sure.
And we'll be on it and following it along there with you. Terry, thank you so much. Appreciate the conversation.
Let's talk about the Netflix and Amazon film crew exposing the conditions on set. One of the chatters actually made this, which is cool, for More Perfect Union. I'm a fan of this.
A promotion with The Rock, you know, last Friday for Netflix, for biggest movie that Netflix has ever done. And because of The Rock's schedule, you're like, oh, well, we're just going to work through lunch. We'll just work through lunch more and more and more. And that's the big thing. Like now, at this point, especially post-pandemic, we're working through lunch constantly.
Bro, imagine being like, yo, we need a fucking mandated, like, we need like a fucking designated lunch break, dude. Like, people are always like, why do we need unions? It's like promotes fucking lazy behavior. It's like, dude, you know what people need? Lunch, motherfucker. Okay, there would be no necessity for collective bargaining if people actually were like normal humans and capitalism hadn't fucking rotted their brains to the degree where it's like, no, the profit motive takes over and it's significantly more important than lunch breaks. It's like, what the fuck, dude? What if you're hungry, dog? What is that? That's a basic fucking necessity. Can you imagine? 68,000 motherfuckers have to get together and be like, we're no longer working. Why? Because they want lunch breaks. And then we look at the system, because every part of this fucking system is so tilted and so aligned with the interests of capital. And everyone thinks that they're like little fucking small business tyrants themselves, or will be one day, that they literally are just like, actually, you know, I don't know, like, why do we need unions? It's like, bro, they literally need it so they can even get lunch, dude. That's how fucked up this shit is.
I did a show this year that was $12 million an episode for a company where the CEO just went to space. And we were working 16-hour days, and we were scheduled not to have any lunches for a 6-month show. That's reality.
So there is something in Hollywood called the line. Below the line are all the people who are the technicians, your makeup artists, your costumers, your hair artists, your sound people, your camera people, your grips, your electric, your crafty, your catering. They're all below the line members. And that means that they get a significantly lower pay scale. That doesn't compare to, say, the above the line individuals who often start in the hundreds of dollars an hour or are salaried for millions of dollars for a project.
We've had multiple people get in car accidents, and some have died in car crashes on the way home from being overworked and not getting enough sleep because the turnaround times are so quick. That's more dangerous than when we're doing explosions on set, or filming on top of buildings, or filming underwater, or on boats, or doing helicopter stunts, you know. It's more dangerous that we don't ever break and that we have to drive home at the end of the day.
We take one break at 6 hours on the contracts that our unions negotiated long ago. They're trying not to actually have us break, because for them, if they don't break us for lunch, they pay a meal penalty. Those meal penalties have—
Oh, this is the beautiful part about this, and I can't believe I forgot to mention this. Meal penalties are such a fucking light, gentle little fucking tap on the wrist. It's not even a slap on the wrist. It's like, oh, no lunch? Here, we'll just pay off the meal penalty. Who gives a shit? And it's nothing.
Haven't been updated since the mid-'80s, so for them, it's pennies. They can make us work.
That's the problem with not having a government that actually fucking gives a single shred of a fuck about the working class, about the laborers, about the fucking wage cucks in this goddamn country, okay? For the price of a fucking Starbucks Frappuccino per worker, you could just get them to keep working through lunch. Well, of course, that's not a punishment then, dude. If there's a rule in the books that has a financial penalty, and that financial penalty is not fucking steep enough, then that rule doesn't exist. Okay, it just doesn't. It's silly bitch shit. Okay.
10 hours, 11 hours straight and pay 4 to 5 meal penalties, but it doesn't affect them at the end of the day when it's Amazon and the show has a $300 million budget.
So we'll work 16, 17 hours straight without breaking. You know, we work what's called a Friday, which is when you go into work at 2 p.m. on a Friday and then you work until 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
And I'm usually the first and last to work. And it's happened where I just, without telling anybody, I fell asleep on the fitting room couch.
You have people like your camera operators, or boom operators, or script coordinators, who they have to be stuck in the room while you're filming. So they would actually never get a chance to walk away to eat their food or drink water, or have a bathroom break. And those are things that we just can't stand for.
The contracts originally were made back in 2013, so they're like outdated at a time when streaming services weren't as profitable as they are now. So like, I mean, when they did the contracts, Netflix was still fucking mailing DVDs, you know what I mean? So they like had no idea it was going to get to this point. And the ultimate contracts that they fucking did also said like, you know, these are going to be renegotiated once, you know, the companies are profitable. But of course, if you're a capital owner, you're going to always be like, we're just kidding. We're not actually profitable. Like, why the fuck would we do that? Come on, come on. Don't be crazy. Don't be silly now. Don't be a silly Billy now. Fuck it, dude. Why would we? I mean, come on. Just don't ask for more. Come on. Why are you doing this? Anyway, you know, just like the contract I negotiated with Amazon to run a top of the hour ad break at the top of every hour.